Okay. So this is like the sixth time that we record this because we were not at your office, and just a bunch of stuff. But you know what? Like I was saying, like fail fast. You know, you just gotta fail fast. I mean, you just fail.
Fail.
Yeah, just. That's funny. So we have to go over a lot of the stuff that we talked earlier, but let's do it quickly so that we can get into our conversations. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Awesome. So your name is Brandon Beasley?
Brandon Beasley, yeah.
Pretty white.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit, you know?
Yeah.
But that's cool, you know? So you got a bachelor's and a master's, right? In sort of religious studies, something like that.
Yeah, I majored in religion, and the Master of Divinity is like a preacher's degree.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a preacher's degree for a lot of churches require that before you can become a pastor. And,
that's cool.
But I'm not a pastor. Side note. I met my wife in seminary, in graduate school. We were both studying to be pastors.
Where did you study?
Well, I did my first 3 semesters at Princeton Theological Seminary. And then
Princeton?
Yeah, it's the graduate school. It used to be. It's not affiliated with the university, although it's in the middle. It's in the middle of the university. Like the university's here, the seminary's here.
Princeton?
In Princeton, New Jersey, a city called Princeton.
New Jersey, like the New England, you know, the colonies.
It's not quite New England, but yeah, it is a colony. It was a colony, and it was a site of a revolutionary.
Wait, are you from there?
No, I'm from Houston.
You're from Houston, but you study like over there.
That's where I did grad school. That's where I started graduate school.
That's where you studied?
Yeah, well, that's where I started graduate school. And I had a chaplain, a university chaplain. He was my campus minister. The role that I now play, he played that role for me when I was in college.
Okay. And
he was a graduate at that seminary. And it's not a Methodist school. It's actually Presbyterian, but I knew some really great people who were from that school, so I applied and I got in. So they gave me a full tuition grant. But then it cost too much to live there.
Yeah, so you just kind of turn out the same. Right?
Yeah,
you just turn out.
It's pretty brutal. Student loans.
Bro?
Yeah.
Dude, it's so hard.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm super glad. Like, full disclosure, I'm not a huge fan of UTRGV, but I think it gets you a degree that it's totally valid anywhere in the United States and internationally. Like people, they don't care.
Sure.
It gets you a job, and it does give you the education if you freaking care. Yeah. And the last, but most, you don't have to, like most people here are poor. I'm poor. And so it gets paid for. Yeah. So it's, I think it helped my friend get a car for sure. And I think a couple of people get like cars. So I don't know. I come from Mexico, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just coming to the U.S. It's just blessings after blessings. And so I'm really appreciative. I don't have an accent, but, I am Mexican. Yeah. Mexican. Well, I'm a U.S. citizen, but I'm also Mexican.
Yeah.
But I was gonna tell you. Oh yeah, so we're here at your office in the Methodist Church, right? Like next to Edinburgh, right?
Yes, we're in Edinburgh, just across the street from UTRGV on Sugar Road, just behind the Stripes. It's the United Methodist Student Building, or campus center.
Yeah. Hey, look, we're doing better.
Yeah, we're doing it, man. We're doing it.
Yeah, for sure. For good, Jesus. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Don't be sorry.
You know what? Can I just talk with Jesus Christ and oh my God and stuff?
You have my permission.
Okay.
To sin all you want.
Jesus.
I do it from time to time as well. I try not to, but it's okay. It's really okay. Don't apologize to me. Okay. Apologize to the Lord. No, I'm just kidding.
Because we are going to hell. Yeah, no. I'm glad that. I'm glad
that's why I'm a pretty normal guy. As we in our first 6 recordings, we talked about this. I'm
oh my God!
We're still recording.
Yeah,
he knocked over the phone.
Yeah, who you?
No, you did. You hit the phone laughing and you knocked it down. That's okay.
Wait, what? For real?
Yeah, you just did.
I thought it was you.
No, you laughed, you hit the table, you knocked it. It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
But what I was saying was I'm a pretty normal guy. I try to be approachable and not too weird and Christian, but when people find out what I do, that I work in ministry, they get really weird. And they're like, oh, I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like they're afraid to be normal people.
Yeah.
And some people, especially if they're religious even a little bit, then they'll change the way they talk. They'll be like, "Oh, man, oh, thank the Lord for that," and they praise God, and they'll say these amen. They'll just start talking all holy talk on me. And I'm like, just talk like a normal person.
That's cool. And I honestly think it has to be changed because of a PR problem.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it might be controversial.
Yeah.
No, never mind. I don't want to get controversial, but yeah, it's a peer. No, but for at least with Christians, it's a peer problem. Or the atheists.
Yeah.
The atheists, they're observed as like on your face debaters.
Yeah.
And because the leaders are that. And so, or feminists, feminism, they all have sort of a peer problem because, their top heads, the top people are like that,
Yeah.
And so, at least for all of them.
At least they're thought of that way.
The atheists, the feminists.
Shout out to atheists, feminists, and all those people.
Yeah, like...
They get a bad rap.
I think...
Just like Christians.
Look, there are just too many people,
sure.
And so all different groups are different things. And so, you know what? Screw the people at the top who, like, from those movements. As long as we get our money and they don't get it, and as long as we do cool stuff, and then they don't bother us, I think, you know what I mean? So...
We get money and do cool stuff?
Yeah.
That's the name of the podcast, right? Yeah. Get money and do cool stuff.
For sure. Yes, of course. And to me, it's not about money because people think like greed.
Yeah.
I'm talking about value.
Yeah.
Creating value to each other.
Mm.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So, I think let's just finish about talking about here.
Sure.
So, or I guess we can. Do you want to talk about it right now or at the end?
We can open with it. What are we about?
Yeah.
We can recap at the end. But
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Netflix.
Netflix?
You guys have Netflix there.
Oh yes, that's why people come, is for Netflix. No.
And they sleep here too.
Yeah, we do have a living room area. So we're right across the street from the university.
Yeah.
It's not a part of the campus, but it may as well be. We're so close. We're right behind the Stripes here on Sugar Road. We have a couple study rooms. We have a freezer full of food that we like to share with our students. We have free meals on Tuesdays. We do Bible studies on Friday nights.
Yeah.
We once a month we do a fun social event. We're going bowling this Thursday, and you're coming with us this Thursday, which is fun.
Gross. Gross. Yeah.
Bowling is gross. I agree, but it's quality time with friends. So it's once a month
Christian people.
Yeah,
Jesus,
the worst. The worst.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
no. That's cool.
Amen. Thanks be to God.
Praise God. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I know.
So far, the people that met here are cool. Actually, they're not like that. That's good.
Normal people.
Yeah. They're not so bad.
No, yeah. And that's one of the things I hope we're known for is that we're welcoming, we're diverse, we're all different types.
Cool.
Folks like you who aren't even professing Christians or maybe even not necessarily anti-Christian but anti-religion or whatever your disposition, you're welcome here. You're welcome to come to Bible study. You're welcome to come to any of our fellowship events that aren't explicitly Christian. They're just fun. But we also have like service projects once a month where we go and build a wheelchair ramp, help with a food bank, volunteer at any local organization. We do lots of that kinds of thing as well once a month just to serve the community. Yeah. And so we do lots of different stuff. But primarily during the week, like you said, Netflix. We're just a building where students can come and hang out. They can take a nap on our couch. Yeah. It's a place to chill between classes.
And you've said a lot of stuff, and I just want to slow it down so that you can actually appreciate all the stuff. So, Netflix.
Yeah.
Sofas where you can sleep.
Yeah.
Study rooms.
Yeah.
A refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
A kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Shower.
Showers. A freezer with stuff with food.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandon Beasley.
Brandon Beasley's the best part,
Sure. Yes, of course. That's where I was heading to.
Yeah.
And then you you're actually not like the stereotypical Christian that I'm not a fan of, but you are actually the angle or the side that I actually appreciate, And so all of those things, but primarily Netflix.
You're right.
But yeah, a lot of the people that come here, I when I came in, like, I was really thinking like something like that every dude is gonna be like that. But no, it's just a space. Yeah. And of course, like, part of me is like, dude, I don't want people to know about this place because it's empty, and then it could be my own, but it's not about that. It's actually, and it's not even thinking about thinking about others, because I'm not that selfless. Like, I'm selfless because it makes me feel good. Like, taking care of other people and making people happy, it actually makes me happy. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I want. The only thing that I feel like scared or worried is that it turns into like this Christian fakery type of stuff, and that comes into my mind, right? And the other thing that comes into my mind was like a bunch of people, and like people are not always nice, and so just like keeping like good people around, rather than just ones attracting like negative or bad people or like fake people. And so I mean, that's not so it's just my fears, right? But that's dumb, because that's dumb for anything that I think of, you know what I mean? Like, when I get a job, a new job, am I going to be thinking about those things? Well, let it happen, and I think, you have to, I think, grow into figuring out how to fix those things rather than trying to avoid them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, totes my loads, And did we finish talking about this place? Yeah, right? Like all the opportunities. I think you gave me a card, and I'll just put it up, all the info, in the description. Sure. If people are down.
Yeah, don't give my phone number, my email.
Oh, cool. It's still recording. Yeah. Yeah, so there's this Facebook, what's up here? This Thursday we're going to go bowling. Mm-hmm. Jessica Ramirez, she convinced me. Actually, her yeah. He's an engineer. He went to engineering with me. Yeah. And then he graduated earlier than me, but he's really cool. That was really unexpected.
Yeah.
So
he's a graduate from this school, and he was a big in our program. He still comes because his fiance is still here. Yeah. He comes and hangs out at our events a lot too. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think we were talking about before we started, and I think we were connecting really well about how can we change it here, the Valley, and one of the things, brain drain, and I think we can both agree that a lot of people just want to leave, and the people that stay, like they were just kind of bitter, and they're just, and so I was saying
there's a lot of resentment for this place.
Yeah, people
want to leave, and people who stay don't like it, and that's a problem. It's a problem with the culture.
And I think what I was saying is that how I think religion or belief is one of those energies that you can actually take it and transform people with it. But we were talking about old people. That
you were talking about. Go on.
Yeah, that's true.
This is your point. It's okay. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, like I was saying that, I wanted it to change for older people, but you said that older people are actually not very good listeners. And then
that's not what I said.
That's what you said. And then young people, like, I was like, yeah, and I was saying, yeah, like, the young people also are listeners, and I think that's a growing experience for the youth, because this program is focused towards youth, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we can start pushing or looking for young people to start listening to the elders, and it's not just listening, active listening. It's not about believing what they have to believe, because I don't care, or I don't agree with 90% what my family says. Sure. But I think I listen to them. I know where they're coming from, Yeah. And so I think that's what we need, for the youth to sort of, like, influence the elders. Because I don't think it's good that, like, a lot of the elders, that negative energy just gets passed down. And that's what happens, I've heard a lot of people have suffering and stuff. And I think just Christianity and religion, like, that's the only place where people are like, yeah, just go to like, a Christian event, So I think y'all have the advantage with that, because if people are like, hey, Dad, I'm excited about this Christian event, they're not going to be like, oh my God, those people are bad. What are you doing?
Sure.
Like, or like, say, my girlfriend, like, oh, I met a girl like at church. Yeah. They're not going to be like, oh my God, like,
don't go back to church. Yeah.
Yeah, don't go. They actually be like, kind of more open to it.
Right.
So, but the problem is the PR problem that y'all have, not necessarily y'all particularly, but just in general, where people think that they're fake. People think it's boring, which I'm not gonna lie, a lot of places is boring.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be. And And I think I finished with the point, but the other thing is, like, the Bible has pretty good parts. And I think I talked about it some other person, Proverbs, Psalms, Ecclesiastics. Mm-hmm. Those are, like, the bomb.com. And then I think John is
the wisdom books there.
Right. Yeah. I think John and in Matthew, all of those ones kind of, like, tell the same story. So I think I read one of those ones. But yeah, don't read Genesis.
You should come on Friday night to our Bible study.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's a lot in there.
Yeah?
There's some good stuff, man.
Alright, well, I'm gonna give it a shot. Hey, dude, I already say yes to
We'll give you a free dinner, too. So, Friday night at 6 o'clock.
If I can bring somebody. Of
course.
Okay.
The more the merrier.
Actually, let me write it down.
Yeah, it's Friday at 6 o'clock. We generally have Bible study. Occasionally we don't, but generally every Friday at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
And also, promo, Tuesdays we do free lunch here at our building as well.
At what time?
Well, we start officially at 12:15. Some people come start a little early, but that's like when we'll like pray over the meal officially. But some people have come late. Cool. They come after that, and that's also served up, just a free meal provided by a local church, just free, just to be nice. So
cool.
That's
cool.
Yeah. Hey, go on. So you're saying the Bible there's some good stuff in the Bible. Is what you're saying.
For sure. But the conversation I was interested on is like, what can we do? You know,
yeah.
I guess the first goals would be to increase the number of people in this place, right? To have more people become more engaged.
Yeah.
For sure. You know, sort of like to me, it would be sort of like trying to use the Bible to vitalize people. I think Vital, like Church Vital, dude, the pastors there are super legit.
So what's that? What is it?
Vital?
Vital?
Like Vital Church.
Oh, Vital, sure. Where is that?
That's on, I think, Corner Road or McCall. But it's on McCowan.
Okay.
Know?
Forgive me. I don't know all the churches around here. I apologize.
Yeah. I wish I could forgive you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You don't have Jesus in your heart.
Huh?
You said you don't have Jesus in your heart.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Exactly. So you better not stop making mistakes, you know, because that won't be so nice, you know.
I don't have to forgive you.
I don't have to. I have no obligation. You know. No, I mean, like, I think I'm controlling too much the conversation, but it's just things that like super interest me.
If I may cut in, a lot of the problems with the Valley are reflective of a lot of the problems in the church, I think.
Yeah.
The brain drain, people just leaving and not coming back.
Yeah.
I feel like the church has these problems. And so it's not just a PR problem, it's a substantial problem with who is in the church. That we have a lot of old school Christians who are just there to save their ass from hell. That's the reason they go, is because they're scared of God, they're scared of judgment, so they feel like it's their obligation to go just out of fear and for selfishness. So they don't have an orientation about caring for others or for doing the mission of the church. They're just in it for themselves.
Yeah.
And so that's where you get a lot of the hypocrisy. They're just not caring about anyone but yourself, and then generally not looking anything like Jesus. And we got young people growing up in the church. Their parents raise them in the church. They go every Sunday or whenever. Their parents raise them to be Christians, but then they go off to college, to a place like this, and they generally drop off. They generally, I don't know if I want to go to church anymore. I become an adult. I can decide when I want to go, when I don't. I'm not going to go anymore. And so part of the mission of this place is to keep them connected to the church, but also just to the mission, doing the good stuff. And so I feel like that's our mission, is to connect the whole person to the community, to the world, and not just their mind, not just their heart and their spirit, but like their mind, like to really engage their faith as intellectually as they engage their studies, and as fervently as enthusiastically, and just to keep that connection real, because it's true, man. So many college students, that's when they stop going to college. That's when they stop going to church. That's when they stop having faith, or believe in organized religion. And we can get into that later. Whatever you think of, we talked about it earlier in an earlier incarnation of this podcast.
Yeah,
but that's not my goal. Is to make more churchgoers and more Christians. It's just to make more people more like Jesus. The mission of the Methodist Church is to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. So that's what I want to do. I want to make people like Jesus. And so that means people like you, people who aren't even Christian, can come to a place like this in community, and be transformed, be inspired to be more like Jesus, who I say is God. And you don't have to say that if you don't want to, but if you want to be more like Jesus, and you start to act more like Jesus, I'm like, that guy's a disciple of Jesus.
Yeah.
And so that's a pretty open and liberal, if you will, interpretation of what it means to be a disciple. But that's, I think, our mission is to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. So it's not just making a disciple for the sake of saying I follow Jesus, but it's for the transformation of the world, to make the world a better place.
Yeah, for sure.
To see injustice and make it right, to see hate and create love, and to fix all the messed up stuff in the world.
For sure.
And so I feel like that's our mission in this building, is to get students at that age, at that vulnerable time, keep them plugged in, to get them enthusiastic and rigorous in their faith. To keep that a part of their identity. Yeah. So, anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. People suck and we should give up on them.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, that's what you said. No,
and old people don't listen.
And old people don't listen. You know what I mean? Let's just keep this place to ourselves and enjoy the free meals.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think... I think we just have to create value, Yeah. And we just have to be leaders, and we should, just love people, because people don't know how to love, here, or of course, everywhere, right? But I don't think a lot of people know how to love, and because they're, and it's weird for them and stuff,
Yeah.
And I think that space has to be created, and people need that stuff, And honestly, I'm just being clear, right? Completely. What's that word? I don't know. In disclose or completely.
In full disclosure.
In full disclosure, yeah. Right. In full disclosure, I want to leave and I will leave. Yeah. But for sure, I want to create a couple of leaders that sort of want to stay, and to be this carry on, because this has some strategic points and possibilities, opportunities that could be open, to help people out, man. So, but yeah, I find people depressed. People are alone. People have, a lot of people that, I talked to this guy about how I started taking anti-anxiety medication, and it's also for depression. And he was like, yeah, all my friends, are taking that stuff. And I was like, what? And it's so you secretly, a lot of people are, taking stuff, and just because people don't talk about it. Yeah. And then people get pregnant soon and stuff. And all these people, I see them, and it's just you're just never given another choice. And I think truly studying the Bible is truly, it's a value, But I think for sure we have to create that value. That is they actually people appreciate, because again and again you go to play. But let me talk about Vital Church with Marcus. Was the president of Rocket Launchers, yeah. And great guy. The church I went, and they're interesting. What's it? Conspiracy for success, or conspiracy for blessings. That was one of the lessons that they gave, and it was great. And they're young, and so there are a couple of things that I disagree, of course. Sure. But it was just inspiring, and it was moving. Then the other church, it's on Harvey. I don't know if but I made a podcast on there, and we did it there. But it looks beautiful, and they were just talking about how they were in India, and they were in Africa. And they made wells, I think, for people in Africa, and in India they also created a church, but they're also helping people. And I was like, yeah, that's totally about it. And people sing nice there, and it was cool. It's very valuable. Yeah. And so people, and I, there needs to be more of that. And honestly, if I can have an influence on Christians, it's to be cooler. I want them to be cooler, and I want to spread that. I'm not too much of a fan to preaching, the aspect of the preaching aspect. I'm more interested in the conversation and the wisdom that you learn from it, because I think that's how you get closer. I mean, I think we're on the same game, that we want to reach God, right? To me, or the kingdom of God, right? But I want to reach God, and I think that's possible, and not sort of literally possible. And so I think That's the only thing I want. But yeah, start talking about and sort of like honestly like work on ourselves to sort of like try to again create value. And I think the with the churches and stuff, I think a lot of people see it, and it is, to be honest, a distraction, you know. And so I think we just have to convert it into something that actually is, you know, focused. Like, okay, can you people from the church, can we have like sort of like teacher, not teacher, you know, but the people who have like degrees and stuff from churches, sort of like in those ones like with their courses and stuff, you know, sort of like trying encouragement for their classes, you know, things like that are more focused towards helping them with like Jesus smuggled in there, you know, like for like 5-10 minutes. But for sure, the thing is that it's just a lot of like shaming, I feel, happens when you go, and then just like, what have you done for Jesus and stuff, like, and we know or we realize like, look, we're freaking 18, 19, 20, you know, well, I'm 23, right? But we're young people, and like, y'all full of crap and lies, you know, and, you know, we believe in a God, but, you know, we sort of like want to live our lives, and you kind of like got pregnant when you were 21, and I'm not sure if you're like qualified to be talking about this stuff.
Right.
So, you know, you kind of like left the valley and you never came back, you know, and you're just coming back because you're like elder, and you really didn't do much to help us, you know. So I'm not sure how could you be, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just playing the role of like the millennials, and then the Generation Z's. But yeah, I don't know, you know, but you guys got money, you guys got food. Those are good incentives for people.
we don't have money.
No?
No. Well,
enough? Or
well, we talked about this earlier, but we were funded by the United Methodist Church. The Rio, Texas Annual Conference at the United Methodist Church is like the central jurisdiction of South Texas, all the way up to Austin, Corpus, all the way down here to the valley. This area, all the Methodist churches are plugged into this network, and that network has a little pot of money that they send us some of. But most of our budget comes from that. Okay. But we are also funded by local churches who give to us regularly as part of their budget. When they pass the plate, they give us some of that money. Right. And there are also some individual donors who give to us. Awesome. And that money goes to just to pay my salary and to keep this building open, pay all our bills, and to any of the programming, the food, all that stuff comes from them. And the meals on Tuesdays are actually provided by churches who come and volunteer. They bring the food, they buy all that stuff. And a lot of the paper plates and stuff, they bring all that stuff too, which is really cool. Well,
I think this is a great opportunity for us to work together towards, you know, maybe talking to them too, you know, and sort of like start talking about that. So one of the things that I'd be willing to provide and to help was like, if you're willing or somebody's willing to sort of like have like a Bible study, but towards my angle of, you know, sort of like what I'm preaching about or what I'm talking about, which is like, okay, what are your problems? And let's talk about that, like, and how that relates towards like advice that Jesus gives us, you know. And so, you know, that's something I'm be happy to sort of like help with, you know. And the other thing is like, of course, I know people, and so I can just bring them over, and that could be something. So we could definitely work out an event that we could do if you're interested. Yeah. You know, 2-4 people, and then if we can do good, 8 people, I think that's good enough. You know, or 100 people, I don't care. But yeah, so for what you're saying, I think you know, I think it's just also be perhaps connecting with the other churches, you know, and sort of like you know, just talk to them and sort of figuring out what are their needs and what are their problems, and sort of like, you know, just being thankful. And then I think I can try like with the events, connect with the youth more, sort of provide that. But I also think one of the things is just to make sure that people are not just, you know, taking, which actually is good, but there's two types of thinking. One taking is like, I'm in need. Like, there's some people, and like provide them with their needs, but also like not create the atmosphere of just like, oh yeah, there's free stuff, and they just have free stuff. And so, but I don't know. I just think that that would be not ideal because again, like I think providing something that adds value to them, because sometimes when you provide something to somebody, it's a crutch, for something just to lean on rather than actually. But actually, a lot of the things are actually pretty good. Like, I think it's good that people can sleep here. Yeah. Actually, it's a really good space for doing work here as well. So that incentivizes. So I think overall, I think it's really
good.
I mean,
there are the lures. The free lunch is something that students like to get. Yeah. I mean, it's free. A place to stay, a place to hang out is nice on campus between classes. Sure. There's not a lot of couches on campus. There's a lot of space to like work, but not necessarily couches to relax on campus. But those are nice lures. But
Monday to Friday, you guys are open 8 to 5, something like that.
That's the hours we're officially open. There's some after hours stuff too.
Sometimes.
Yeah, and so it depends on when the student. Like I have a student lock up in the evening sometimes. So but
what do you think about? Go ahead.
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. So you go ahead.
Lock up. Yeah. What do you say about getting in contact with the other Methodist church up north? That is like the ones that get funded, help with funding. Like sort of like maybe go over there. Maybe personally meet them, or maybe create an event to visit them and sort of like being thankful or something. But I think that'd be beneficial just to sort of like connect, because the money has to come from somewhere, and it's sort of like one is creating value, right, for people, but it's also having like a relationship with other people who like have more, Yeah, it's both. Like
sure. Yeah, we have a relationship. It's really like there's a board that kind of oversees where all the money goes. Yeah, and we have a relationship with them for sure. Awesome. They know we're here. There's other campus ministries across South Texas that are funding all of this, and so
for sure.
And so that's that's a relationship.
I could host events here, or like not host events, but like the podcast I could go here. And or I could also do, like, maybe if I do some work or something, I could bring people here just so that they can know about it. And then kind of like Jesus smuggle, sort of like maybe set a time that we just kind of like talk, like pray or something before. Some Jesus smuggling there. Like, so we just pray the blessings, and then maybe we talk about like 5 minutes of like a passage, and then we get going, and then that's it, or something like.
Yeah. Are you saying you want to start a group? What are you?
Not that I start a group, but I'm already doing this stuff where the podcast is to bring people together from all different classes.
Yeah. No, you're welcome here. I mean, you're welcome to use this space. We don't have to smuggle Jesus. Like his name is on the building. I mean, Methodists, they know what we're about.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to. Cool. We don't have to smuggle him.
That's good.
Because he's kind of
I appreciate that.
The energy that's driving the whole machine, so we don't have to sneak him in because he's everywhere.
He's everywhere. That's good.
He's working the whole system.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
One of the things that I want to do, or I want to bring, is that there's certain things about churches that they do, like sort of rituals, sort of things that actually I think they're important for people, and even secular people create them, And so that's all I'm saying. Like, I just can see that there's some value to them. I haven't completely understood it, and it's part of Alan de Botton, a British temporary philosopher, that he makes out of tradition, and I take it from him. So there's something important, and that's all I'm saying. That it's important for us to have sort of like habit, let's call it, but it's more like ritual.
Sure,
something that my friend, she gave me like a cup of water from the river, and she did a prayer over it, and so I give it to somebody, and I can notice that it made an impact on him. Whether there's some magic or something, it's about like the words that you express, the good wishes that you do, the symbolism that stays with you. So but I'm glad that I really appreciate that you're open to not bring Jesus, because that's good. I really appreciate that. Yeah, because that might be more helpful, towards actually bringing people towards Jesus rather than trying to smuggle Jesus.
Right?
Just might run towards him.
That's people resent that sabotage. Like I said,
right. Me too.
There's that hidden agenda of we're only going to let you in we're only going to let you in if Jesus wasn't like that. He let everybody in. he had something to say. He preached to them. He had a message, but he wasn't going to say, "I'm only going to provide you this healing if to feed you these fish and loaves if he fed them, he healed them, he did the work, and people responded to the work. They respond to the message. I mean, he never said. He does say, "And sin no more." He preaches repentance. He tells you to turn away from your sin. But he doesn't make the grace dependent. He gifts you with the love anyway. Yeah. Whether or not you repent, the message is there, the love is there, no matter what. And so, that's something that I want to make clear, is that this building is not. You don't have to sign a credo that I believe these things when I use this building. Nothing like that. It's open to everybody. It's open to people. People like you are very welcome here. But when you're in our building, you know what we're about. I mean, and I'm going to invite you to Bible study. I'm going to invite you to mission projects and to our service social events. Yeah. And
there was an incident. I don't want to go in detail, but where it was about that. They felt guilty that they felt like they weren't participating, and they always felt guilty about that. Yeah. And you were just telling me that. No, please don't feel guilty. Yeah. That's my job. Right. You're just doing your job, but it's not about, do what you want, Yeah,
you're welcome.
That was really cool about you.
You're welcome here. Yeah, it breaks my heart to feel like people are not welcome. Right. It's you are absolutely welcome here, but, I'm going to invite you to things if you're here, though. Yeah. And so, and it's not a ticket.
You don't have to go.
You're not buying a ticket to come into the building. I'm just saying, hey, we're doing this. And I think people just felt guilty. They felt like they were taking
Maybe
advantage.
You should say, you don't, after that.
Yeah.
Just tell them, you don't have to go. I'm just letting you know. Maybe that may be beneficial.
Yeah. You never have to come. You never have to come.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's completely fine.
Yeah.
It's actually
no. Everyone who's listening, you have to come to every single thing I do in this building.
Yeah, or he'll get upset.
Yeah,
yeah.
God's gonna come after you.
Right.
That's the message that I'm preaching.
And Brandon, Brandon will get after you too.
This is the gospel.
This is the word of God.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think we're talking about an eternity? The life after your death. An eternity of suffering. Oh, do you really want that? Yeah. Do you really want it to burn in hell?
Because you didn't come to our bowling night on Thursday night. Yeah.
Don't you know?
Yeah. This is really important to God. Yeah.
Right? Do you really want to go to the kingdom of heaven? Do you really want to see those pearly gates? Do you really want to go to San Pedro and talk to him? And he tells you, actually, you're not in my book. And then the door gets open. You go down there. The flames are high. The smell stinks. Yeah. The oils get sprayed on you. Hot, burning sensation.
It's terrible.
And the pain never ends.
It's important to me that we say that we're joking. Wait. But before we did this recording, we talked about this earlier. I want to reiterate that I am a very firm believer in that Christianity is about the kingdom of God, which means here and now. It does not mean the place you go when you die. Yeah. And I'm not interested in scaring the hell.
There's no heaven.
I don't. I'm saying that when we pray, "Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." Yeah. That means our job as Christians is not to get to the place when we die. It's to help bring God's place here. Yeah. And so that's our mission. That's our goal. That's what I'm concerned about. Right.
And I feel like it's fulfilling, actually. Yeah. Actually, it's fulfilling.
Of course. It's way more fulfilling. Yeah. You're wasting your whole life going, I can't wait till the next one. What have you done? You wasted your time.
Right. But it's unhappy. It actually, I feel like the aches that we have inside of ourselves is because we're not fulfilling God's plan, which is actually, if you follow it, if you accept, let's say, the suffering, actually it's pleasurable. It's kind of like a masochistic type of thing, but it's true. You start getting more fulfilled.
Absolutely.
But it's a workout. Yeah. You gotta work out. Yeah. And I think people are just fat, spiritual. They're fat physically, they're fat emotionally or mentally, and they're fat spiritually. Yeah. Or you could be very fit physically and very fit mentally. Yeah. You're not fit spiritually, and so you search in the wrong places, right? In the wrong things, Yeah. And sex feels good, It's not bad, But when you
usually,
search,
it can be bad.
It can be bad.
Yeah,
right?
Go on.
Right. Yeah, right. I'm not sure about. I wouldn't know about that, but for sure, you can, those things won't fulfill you. You know, in my opinion, if you search it long enough and hard enough, and you mess up many times, it's like when you do your phone. The first time you checked it out and you got it, it was a little tiny piece of heaven. But every single other one's like it just brought you lower.
Yeah.
And then actually, it's kind of like the dark side and the good side.
Yeah.
The dark gives you power right away, right? But the good side, like, it's slow and steady, but it's in the long term, it's more powerful.
Right.
So
yeah.
But I think you just gotta give people food, and I think
food and Netflix.
Lure them, come on.
Yeah.
And just make them
sneak attack.
You're Jesus now.
Yeah.
You just got Jesus now.
You just got Jesus.
Jesus. You just got Jesus, bro. What was it?
Jesus apostrophe D. You got Jesus.
Jesus dead. Yeah, totally. Jessie from Southwestern. She's super cool. Jessie Reyes from this program. She said what Buddha. She told me what Buddha said. If you like a flower, you pluck it. If you love a flower, you water it. And I think, I think we should water our people.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, and then you like cut them. And
always cut hard.
No. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is like my dark side.
I'm with you, brother.
Yeah, this is my dark side. I just gotta express it sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
This is why I'm not religious, because I have accepted my dark side, but for sure, awesome. Let's see how much time we have. 41 minutes, cool. So pretty much we're good.
Yeah,
I think we're just 10 more minutes.
Sure.
Do you wanna start talking about the 8 to 5 officially, right? But more 9ish, right? 8:30. This place.
Oh yeah, I get here at least by 9. So if a student doesn't come here at 8 to unlock it, I have dropped off my kids at daycare, and I'll get here before 9 generally.
Yeah.
Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And then at 5 o'clock, I'll leave in the afternoon to go pick them up, but we'll stay open until 5 at least.
Awesome.
And later on days when we have events or if students are here.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then what else? I'll put the stuff in the description about the Methodist Church. You're Brandon Beasley.
Mm-hmm.
You're okay. You don't suck too much.
Nah.
You also have a Facebook page as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then UMCMRGV.
Yes.
That's a lot of stuff. Yeah. Do you wanna say something else? Do you wanna give some message to people?
Gosh, I've preached enough.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for coming and interviewing me. I don't remember if I buttered your bread or if I sucked up to you on this recording or not. We've recorded so many.
Yeah.
But meeting you has been a real pleasure, and having you around has been
Thank you.
awesome. So you're exactly the kind of people I want around.
Yeah, for sure.
Spreading light and love.
For sure.
Around the place, and I love it.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of people. You know what I mean? To be so great, and it's my ego that I feel like I'm right, because I feel like I am a great person. But I think my life and goal is not to be great. Like, I for sure know that we'll go places, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the challenge, but part of going places is challenge myself, and my challenge is not, if I'm gonna do great, because I already know that. The real challenge is like, how do I make other people great? How do I make leaders?
Mm-hmm.
And that's my goal. In my head, that's like, okay, I'll be a billionaire, right?
Yeah.
But can I make 1,000 people millionaires? 1,000 people a millionaire, each one of them.
Right.
That's the challenge, and not just monetarily good, I think that's a plus,
Sure.
But also, can I make them maybe spiritually? And I think it's an integration,
Mm-hmm.
If you have a strong spirit, you might have like your work ethic actually improves. Your family starts improving.
Mm-hmm.
Actually your performance in your job actually improves.
Yeah.
And so it's forward. If you strengthen your mind. Actually things improve. You start becoming understanding of yourself. You understand. You find yourself direction. You start noticing what type of girl do you want to have and what sort of friends do you want to have. Mm-hmm. If you understand yourself, the physical world, you start understanding things better. Mm-hmm. You start knowing how to move around things. You start learning how to get things. And so I think it's all integrated. It's called like part of the Hermetic principles, actually. That there's the physical, the mental, and the spiritual. I was just talking to this guy, and I understand really well, or in my opinion, due to like my education in engineering, about the physical world, mm-hmm. and I have done good enough introspection where maybe I'm good to great. I'm in between mentally, but in the spiritual realm, that's the most mysterious to me so far. Yeah. Because like I can't go so far. I can only go backwards, like from the physical backwards to the actual, and I'm just like, what the hell is this place? Because I guess last thing, and I know I talk a lot, but I think you appreciate it. We
gotta do this again.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk this to this other guy.
Yeah.
So we have a subjective experience, all of us.
Sure.
But it's not necessary.
Right.
This subjective experience is not necessary. That is, our bodies, the voices that you hear, and the emotions that experience mm-hmm. could be acted without you being present. Because when you get burned, the burning sensation, it's actually a unique experience towards you. You could just be present and not feel anything and just react to things, Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, that burns. You say the words, the thought comes, but you cannot, like perhaps, what if you weren't able to experience it? You just move back, and your body reacts to it, but you have no subjective experience towards it. If you eat a fruit, people can tell you all they want, and you can describe it in all the terms, mm-hmm. but actually the sweetness of it, the subjective, the internal experience of sweetness, I don't know where it comes from, Where does it come from? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. And that's so difficult to explain, And that's the world that...
You're talking about, like, consciousness.
Right, like when you touch, it actually creates an experience for me. It can, like... It could possibly not, and there's no way to describe it because nobody has access to that world. There's no words that you can.
Well, I guess you could explain it neurologically, what is communicating to your brain,
right? But
you can reduce us to chemical compounds and reactions if you want to do that. I feel like religion and spirituality gives it meaning. It's not just we're not just a lump of chemicals and reactions,
right? But the words do not manifest the experience,
right?
Sure,
the words are also a construction of the mind and of our culture,
right? Right. Like, say, like if you haven't tried a blueberry, you cannot create that experience until they try it. You can say all the things, but you cannot create that experience, mm-hmm. if that makes sense. And you could say of other things, that connect with it. But what if acidity tasted like sweetness to somebody, and mm-hmm. then what sweetness tastes like eyesight,
right?
And the subjective experience is switch around,
right? We have the same word for it, but not understand,
right? Sure. How can we make sure that internally?
Right. No, you can't.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
or can we?
Exactly. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, even the fact of self-awareness, and this conversation could happen without us being present.
Right.
That is, the voice So there's a voice that has thoughts, but there's actually another creature for which things are observed, right? For which, sort of like you decide, like mm-hmm. that creature, sure. And we identify with that being of like saying, oh, look, I can observe this thought, I can observe this emotion. But this creature for which, things are experiencing, that's even a construct in itself, right. That's even part of the mind. And it's part of like the frontal, like consciousness, Mm-hmm. But to me, people use the word consciousness to self-awareness. But no, actually, consciousness to me is the subjective experience of reality, And that's like, what the hell is that? Because, that's a...
You think we share it? I mean, it seems to be we seem to share it.
Right.
Yeah.
So how could we test it so that we can actually see where this stuff comes from, and it feels like to me, it's like a feeling here, and I don't know if that's part of the material world. Actually, no. If it's all a subjective, where does it come from? Mm-hmm. Like my own sense of the physicality of my body. Mm-hmm. That subjective experience. What's that space that exists? Yeah. And that I want to go behind that. Yeah. Behind the back door of my own existence. Yeah.
because I feel like that's where the kingdom of heaven is, or the fundamental truths of reality are.
Yeah, capital T truth. Like that's where it is.
And it might just be that there's like we are just an aspect of truth, you know? Like just as the laws of reality are part of like create, you know, the gravitational constant, you know, the electrical constant, you know, all of those things. Consciousness could be one of those things that play a role in all of it, but yeah. So I hear like people who do DMT, dimethyltryptamine, and where they have experiences where there's other creatures.
This just became Joe Rogan.
Yes, but I'm curious about that. Like, it might just be that.
I haven't tried DMT. But
we might just be a being where other beings exist, and so we're just interacting with ourselves internally. You know, for which creates sort of experiences so that a higher being is trying to enact. Yeah. You know, which we call God. You know, but there might just be a total different space outside of this one. You know, a total different world outside of this one that we don't even know. You know, because you know, let's say the Big Bang happened. You know, so something had to create it, and it's actually there's more space being created, and it's becoming more expanded. Sure. You know, so where does these spaces actually created? Because if it's a closed system, right? The cycle, it would happen that the force of gravity will actually revert everything back, right? And so it's a cycle, but no, that's not happening.
Right. It's expanding, accelerating. And,
right.
Yeah.
So then something is coming from somewhere else, you know? And of course, it might just be, you know, from the own, like, of this world, you know? For sort of like a reinterpretation of what space is. Yeah. And that exists within it. Or, you know, we're like a bubble and another thing is interacting towards us, you know? And it could be like, I'm not saying another thing as a consciousness, but it could just be another manifestation of reality that is outside of our own, you know, by different rules. Because who tells us that the gravitational constant hasn't changed, right? Right. But if it were to be changed slightly, you know, just very, very small, 10 to the 6 or something, you know, let's say, because it's actually I think it's 10, I would have to Google it, but it's really small. Yeah. If it were to be changed slightly, we wouldn't have this. Right. And nobody, you know, is telling the world there's this constancy that has been progressively it's just been staying the same. Yeah. And so things change, but in an expected, predicted way, you know. And so what is that? Yeah. Why is it that? Nobody knows.
Well, you know what I'm hearing and what I've observed people do. Yeah. I dig this stuff. This is so cool. Like I said, for me, I'm a Christian. I've got my own narrative about the meaning of reality and whatnot. It's all framed around Jesus as far as life on this earth. But when you get really big like that, I can totally go there with you. But but what's interesting is what I hear you doing is what people have done forever, which is to find, air quotes, God in that space beyond what we can comprehend. Yeah. You know, it's like our science can get us so far, our physical understanding can take us so far. Right. And just beyond that, that's where God lives. Yeah. And the just beyond. Yeah. That explains what we can't explain. Yeah. And I feel like that's that's been historically a problem for religion because the goalpost keeps moving. Yeah. You know, it used to be God we worship the sun. You know, and they're like, because the sun is a god, we don't understand it, so we worship the sun. And then it becomes, God created these rivers by dragging, you know, whatever myth you have there. Yeah. And they're like, those are created through erosion, through these natural things. And say, then God is,
the God of the gaps.
Right, right. And you're kind of talking in the same way to talk about consciousness and the universe and what's creating all those things. And finding something mystical, God-like in that space, and I dig that. That's kind of fun. But for me, it's the same thing we've always done, and I think it's kind of, it's cheapening of what God is.
Okay, sure.
For me, which is, it's not a question of like how the ideas of religion are not. Where did we come from? Where are we going? Right. It's more why. Like, what's the purpose? And there's finding like intention in that space. Right. And so it's not about describing the universe in a scientific or historical way, but it's about in a meaningful heart way. It's a heart versus a mind sort of thing. So they're not intention. Yeah. So no matter how much our science can explain. Right. you'll never get rid of God in my understanding of who God is, because
Right.
God isn't in that gap. God is everywhere, and I believe in a God of goodness and love and mercy.
That's awesome.
And it's like,
Thanks for bringing this up. Yeah.
sure, and so that, and for me, that's a different. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, and
way of framing it.
Right. So I saw how, and I think you also know where I was going with this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at least for God, I think we're built in with a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
And we have to do something.
Right.
And I think the best way that you can do it, whatever that is, the ultimate thing, that to me is what I call God. The ultimate purpose. But to me, that's a little bit distinct and different from the reality. I'm talking about the reality of the universe.
Sure.
And for me, I feel like my purpose, built into me, that my higher purpose is to actually bring, that. And so I'm just talking about my purpose.
Totally.
My purpose.
And for a lot of people, that's like their thing is the universe, air quotes, the universe, if you will,
right.
like the ultimate reality.
Yeah.
And that's. And that's really cool, and that blows my mind. But I don't worship that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we're created for worship, and that's not the object of my worship.
Okay, for sure.
I don't think God is reality. I mean, my mind might change about this. We're changing our beliefs all the time,
for sure.
But for now, I don't think of God in that way.
Yeah,
I don't think of God as a dude in the clouds, pulling strings and making us do stuff,
right.
Punishing us and rewarding us. I don't think of God in that cartoony way. But I've got a much more spacey idea about God that I see incarnate, became a person in Jesus. And so that's how I know what God is by looking at Jesus and saying, that's what God's about.
Right.
And that's what God wants us to be about.
I guess for me, I think how we can connect is principles.
Sure.
For sure, Jesus, he follows certain principles.
Yeah.
I think we can agree on that.
Yeah, sure.
And so I guess we can just sort of like try to understand the details of like the principles. But they're there. They exist, and we actually can learn it around us, Yeah. And I sort of understand the principles. What I'm interested in is what behind the principles, Sure. Part of it, I feel like I kind of like try to parse so that I can get closer to the principles. There's certain principles that I already know, or like people know, like love others or something like.
Sure, just like pro-social, like evolution, like
right.
Sure,
but so I think that's what the whys is, like principles. Well, you should follow the principles so that you can actually achieve the greatest good, the happiness point.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? So I think that's, again, I think the church purpose is to show those principles and teach those principles and show how it can. The reason why it's beneficial and explain that and get there. But at least for me, or like my purpose, there's the principle and your purpose. And sort of like part of that is fulfilling my purpose, which is like, to me, is like searching for consciousness, searching for reality, and creating those spaces. That's how I feel my purpose is.
Sure.
So yeah. But no, I'm with you that we all have, I say, different purpose or different interpretations of it. But I think hopefully you can agree that we both see Jesus and it's like, I like the principles. He was a cool dude.
Of course.
And then I think you might see him as like you're only a cool dude, but maybe more of that. But
pointing towards something eternal that
right
that we're all called to follow.
Right.
Yeah. I think that, I believe in that we were created with that purpose. That's what God did with us in creating us, is to make us formed in the image of God.
Yeah.
And that is what God is. God is love. And so we were created in that image. And so that's what we're made. That's what we're made for. And we suck at it. We need to practice and get better.
Right. But what's love? Well, love is unity, in my opinion. What is love? Love is...
Baby, don't hurt me.
Don't hurt me.
No more.
I think that's a really good way to end this. Is that good, like for everything?
I think so.
Cool. That's hilarious.
That's a good ending.
Yeah, that was a great ending.